Hey guys, my name is Kay and I'm 42 years old. As the kids say, let me spill the tea on this wild journey I've been on. And don't be too mad at me because I'm sure you'll agree when I say that he deserved everything that was coming to him. I moved to Arkansas a few years back to be closer to my son, who's working here in the States. Originally from Sudan, I wanted to soak up that American culture because I had never been. To be honest, it took me a long time to get the hang of things around here, but overall, I've been enjoying my stay. I've always enjoyed American shows, so it was nice coming to the place that I had been watching when I was growing up. I lived in a small apartment that wasn't too far from the city. Things were perfect around here. That was until a few months ago when I got a new neighbor. Now, let me tell you, everything was pretty good in this apartment complex. It wasn't anything fancy, but we had this lovely little community going on, a melting pot of different folks, and I was digging it. Enter Stefan, the new guy. This dude was like a storm rolling in. No nonsense, always offended, even by things that had zero to do with him. You know the type. Energy vampires, sucking the life out of you with their negativity and pessimism. I've been on this earth way too long to let this guy come in and mess up our beautiful community with his negativity. And to make matters worse, he seemed like a racist, catching him saying some foul things and shooting me disgusted looks when I'm around. Oh no, we're about to have a showdown. I never let those looks slide. I made sure he knew that the one being disgusting was him. I don't take racism lightly. I've traveled quite a bit in my lifetime, and as a Sudanese woman, I faced my share of hateful folks. But living right next to one, that was unexpected. Stefan had an issue with me because I never hesitated to challenge him. Whenever he threw a snarky comment my way, I hit back just as fast, leaving him stunned. It was my little way of letting him know he couldn't just spew negativity without consequences. If you hate it here so much, why don't you just leave? We were all happy here before you came. I could say the same thing about you, sweetheart. Why are you here? Why don't you go back to your country? Look who's throwing stones in the glass house. Are you forgetting that you just got here? You can't speak to me that way. Yes, I can. I can do whatever I want, and you can't stop me. I'm going to make your life a living hell. Just you wait. Stefan might have been many things, but a promise breaker wasn't one of them. He vowed to make me miserable, and boy, he did deliver. Rowdy, crazy parties became a regular thing, leaving me struggling to fall asleep and waking up feeling like crap. Sometimes people wouldn't even come over. He would just blast the music all by himself, I guess. Like a loser. Now, let me remind you, I'm in my 40s. I can't be staying up that late every night without facing the consequences. My health was deteriorating. I would get so agitated due to the lack of sleep, and people noticed how drained I was. I was getting sick and tired of that Stefan guy thinking that he could run the place. Despite knowing that Stefan was just trying to get under my skin, I tried my best not to let him see that he had successfully pissed me off. Weeks passed, and complaints to the landlord proved to be useless. Even when I rallied some other people to help me complain, we didn't have any luck. Turns out Stefan had some connections and he knew the contractors of this apartment complex, meaning he could try and twist the narrative to benefit him and to make us all look bad. Rumor had it he was running from debt back home, and a friend over here was helping him hide out. Yikes. Now you might be thinking, just go to the police. Well, you see, that would work if we could trust the police here. You think someone who looks like me would be able to get the attention and respect of some very racist police officers? Absolutely not. Now, Stefan, on the other hand, he was your stereotypical white guy. Of course, they were going to listen to him instead of us. Besides, we were already in a pretty poor part of town and people didn't care about people like us. We just had to endure it until he decided enough was enough, I guess. Dealing with all his crap was so unfair, and he could tell his tactics were working. The wild parties persisted, and how a 35-year-old man had the energy for all that, only the heavens knew. I thought he couldn't keep it up forever, but it had been going on for about 2 months at that point, and I was completely fed up and ready to throw in the towel. One night, or rather early morning at 3 a.m., I found myself pounding on his door because of the loud music. After what felt like an eternity, he finally opened up. "What the hell is your problem? Don't you know that some people have kids here?" "Does it look like I care?" "Listen, I know you're probably the type of guy who had everything handed to you, but we are real people here, with real feelings. Can you give us a break?" "Oh, how sad. I don't care. This is all your fault. You should apologize, and maybe I'll consider turning it down." "Ha, me? Apologize to you? For what?" "Well, you're the one who provoked me." "I didn't do anything to you. If anything, you're the one who started all this. And do you know why? It's because you are a disgusting racist." "Listen here, you weasel. I won't stand being talked to like this from the likes of you. Why don't you find an elephant and go back to where you came from?" "How classy of you. You kiss your mother with that mouth. Although I'm sure that she'd be just as disgusted as I am. You're a grown man, for crying out loud. When do you get the time to sleep?" "In the afternoon, of course." "Yeah, of course. Because you're a lazy bum. You don't work. God knows how you're paying for the place. Oh, wait. I heard you had some friends who were helping you out of a sticky situation. Tell me, what kind of humiliating things do you need to do to get them to keep letting you stay here, huh?" "I've had enough of this. You better know your place before I call the very friends you are insulting." "I'm not insulting them. I'm insulting you. Although I'm sure anyone who's associated with you isn't exactly a fun time to be around." "You know what? Just for that, I'm going to turn the music up even higher." "Go ahead. You're already messing up all of our sleep schedules." "You're a worthless piece of trash. You look like it, and you smell like it, too," says the one who's acting like he's a freshman in college. "Oh, what's wrong, buddy? You peaked in high school and you're trying to find your sense of purpose? Newsflash. Your purpose is to be a reminder of what happens when you think you're better than everyone. You end up as an old, bitter troll." "Look who's talking." "Why are you even doing this, really?" "I'm doing this because I hate you and your people. I want you to be so upset you willingly leave this place, you and all your little hippy-dippy friends. None of you are welcome here, and you should all go back to your countries." "Wow, you are such a sad, pathetic man." "Yeah? Well, at least I'm not homeless." "Neither am I. Just wait. I'll make sure it happens." Sure enough, true to his word, the parties didn't stop. Stefan was so rowdy and annoying, allowing his crazy drunk guests to use my balcony pot plants as a toilet to throw up in. It was disgusting. I was on the verge of tears out of frustration. I begged and pleaded with my landlord to do something about it, but just like last time, he was of no use. I was getting angry at him too, because he needed to do more and stand up for all of us. He was clearly too chicken to face the big bad bully Stefan. One day, as I paced in my home, thinking about how to make this better, I decided I would become the next landlord, or landlady in this case. At first, I thought I might be doing too much, but upon further consideration I realized I was the perfect fit. I had been there for years. I knew the place like the back of my hand. People recognized me as the designated grandma of the place, and I was thrilled to take on the role. Everyone looked up to me, and if my landlord wasn't going to do something about it, I certainly needed to. I asked some of the other residents what they thought about me taking over. They were excited, saying that I had given them hope that things would finally get better. With the help of some friends rallying behind me and us protesting the poor conditions, we got the attention of the apartment complex's supervisor and building manager, who was above the landlord, but different from the contractor. I wasn't too sure if he was aware of Stefan and his shady background. I didn't want to risk losing all the progress we had made fighting the power and posting about it on social media, because what if this guy was in Stefan's pocket too? So we got his attention by drawing attention to other issues in the place, issues he couldn't ignore, such as the poor conditions, the lack of renovations, as well as the unreliable water system. It also helped big time that the current landlord was ready to retire, so all the signs were pointing to me, and I was excited. It seemed like becoming a landlady was now a possibility after it was just a passing thought, and I was ready to show Stefan and any of his cronies that if you mess with the big dog, you better be ready for this bite. I also asked my son to help us out with this situation since he was a paralegal. He could assist us in getting a case going against Stefan and anyone else who was disturbing the peace. Slowly but surely, the pieces were coming together. Stefan continued to be a menace. He stopped blaring loud music at night like he used to. He'd do it maybe 3 times a week now instead of every day. But he would cause ruckuses in other ways. He would steal people's groceries left on their front door and try to solicit people, and he was just a nasty guy to be around. Every single time he went out of his apartment, it was time for all of us to go into ours. That's how much everyone hated him. Anyway, a few more weeks went by, and I felt like I was finally ready to present my case. I approached the manager with conviction, laid out all the truths about our living conditions, except the stuff about Stefan, and told him that I was ready to take on the position as the next landlady. He told me that he would get back to me after reviewing our case, and all we had to do was patiently wait for him and his decision. I was nervous for those couple of days, wondering if all of this hard work was for nothing. But then we got the news that he had accepted our proposal. Yes, I was over the moon and excited for everything that was to come. I was getting bored and wanted something new. I knew that taking care of this community was the right step, and because of Stefan, it was the necessary step. Now, thankfully, I and the other residents had managed to keep this a secret from Stefan, thinking that if he knew, he would definitely do something to stop us. Luckily, he was none the wiser, and I was set to hand-deliver the news to him, which was the moment I had been waiting for this whole time, to stick it to his stupid face. But before I could do all of that, I had to wait for my son to finish up the case file we were making against Stefan and all of his shady actions. Somewhere in the middle of all of this fighting for justice, we decided that we didn't just want to silence Stefan, we wanted him gone for good. With the help of my son, as well as getting some more dirt by talking to people around the neighborhood, we found out some pretty nasty stuff that our dear old buddy Stefan was getting up to. Turns out that the debt from back home was more than just that. Apparently, he's known back home for having a crazy gambling addiction, as well as being charged for gross misconduct because one time he was very drunk and he exposed himself to people in public. Yikes. Turns out he's an even bigger loser than we thought. Additionally, he was caught for fraud and hacking, and some people were even suspecting money laundering in the list of crimes as well. This guy had a whole rap sheet of offenses, and I was determined to bring them all to light. Also, his friends were forgotten in all of this. I also wanted to find out exactly who they were and take them all down so that we wouldn't have to worry about any more nonsense after that. Once I got word from my son that everything was a go, I was ready to take stupid Stefan down. Like I said, I didn't take too kindly to racists, and he was going to regret the day he set foot in our community. I decided to present the news to him in the middle of the night, a little payback for all those sleepless nights I had. It seemed like today was one of his off days because there was no music. He was fast asleep like a normal human being. Unfortunately for him, he was about to receive another rude awakening. He answered the door, sounding groggy and tired. When he saw that it was me, he suddenly squared up, having all of the energy for a fight. I was ready to bring it, however, so I didn't mind all of the insults and curses he was throwing my way. I let him ramble for a bit, enjoying the look on his face now, so that I could savor the disappointment he was about to experience. "What the hell are you doing here?" "Nice to see you too." "It's 2 in the morning. I'm trying to sleep here. What do you want?" "Funny. I thought this was peak partying time for you and your friends. Whatever happened to that, huh?" "Don't start with me. You don't even deserve to breathe the same air as me, you worm." "Oh, that was a good one. I'm sure you will find the right crowd for your comedy with where you're going. You better stop practicing your icebreakers." "What are you talking about?" 3 things. You're being evicted, I'm the new landlady, and you'll be going to jail soon, so don't think about skipping town. They will still find you, and that's an extra charge. You're welcome for the free advice. Wait, hold up. What did you just say to me? What, are you deaf or something? 35, already losing your hearing? Maybe it's because of all that music you were blasting. You think you're hilarious, don't you? I know I am, but unfortunately, I'm not lying about anything I just said. I'm the new landlady. I showed him the paper I had in my hand, and he snatched it, reading it frantically. His eyes got wider when he saw that it was all legit. I was the newly designated landlady for our apartment complex, and he just couldn't handle it. How is this even possible? You see, Stefan, evil may come for a visit, but be rest assured, it will never become comfortable here. You're a terrible person, and your sins are catching up to you. Shut up. I don't believe in God. Well, maybe you should, because with where you're going to need him. This is ridiculous. Who would listen to someone like you? You're nothing. You are the scum of the earth. Wrong again, Stefan. It's actually you who's the scum of the earth, and soon everyone will know it too. You and your little friends, you are all going down. Before he could answer, I shoved another document in his hands. He was reading it over and over and over again, and I could see his resolve crumbling in his eyes. Bingo. I told him how we would be building a case against him this entire time, and that there was ample evidence to warrant an arrest. Of course, he got to screaming and cussing at this point, calling me all sorts of slurs to try and rile me up. But I was firm with him and told him to stop acting like a baby. I told him that he made his bed, and now he had to lie in it. He was fuming, and to add insult to injury, I told him this one last thing. And as the new landlady of this complex, I'll have to officially and formally kick you out of here. I would say it was nice having you here, but that would be a lie. You can't kick me out. I need at least 1 month's notice. You are absolutely right, Stefan. I guess you could move out now, or risk having your stuff donated or burned once you get arrested, which should be very soon, actually, so the choice is yours. All I know is I can't stand to live another week seeing your disgusting face in this building. Then the strangest thing happened. Stefan started crying. He dropped to his knees and began begging me for forgiveness, asking me to have mercy and telling me that he would never say anything rude again. Please, you can't do this to me. I'm sorry, all right? I didn't mean any of the stuff that I said. Really? Because you said some pretty heavy stuff. I had this girlfriend from South Sudan, okay? She broke my heart. And so you decided to take out all of your frustrations on black and brown people? What's wrong with you? I know, it's messed up. I need help, okay? You have to help me. You're gonna get all the help you need when you're locked behind bars. No, please, Kay, please, Miss Kay, I'll do anything. I'll start paying double the rent. Just drop the charges, please. You have no idea how much trouble I'm in. They would deport me, and I can't go back home. So strange how the guy who was so comfortable telling people to go back to their homes is afraid to go back to his. I should have studied psychology. Kay, please. You had your fun, okay? Just help me out, please. I started laughing at him, and he was pissed at this but also desperate, so he continued to beg, which was so pathetic. He told me that he had nowhere else to go and that he couldn't go to prison, but I told him that it was all way too late and that he had more than enough time to apologize to everyone and change his ways. But he wasn't listening. He just kept crying and crying like a baby, telling me how sorry he was. This went on for way too long, and I was forced to call the police and have them escort Stefan off the premises because he was causing a disturbance. As the new landlady, I wouldn't stand for any of it. It was like killing two birds with one stone, since there was already a warrant out for his arrest. I basically did the police's job for them. The police arrived shortly after and arrested Stefan, adding noise pollution to the laundry list of crimes he was involved in, and this was just in America. God knows what he was doing in the comfort of his own home in Greece. This man was just bad vibes, and I was so glad to finally be rid of him. In the morning, I held a small gathering, and the whole building was invited. We ate, we danced, we laughed. We celebrated this new freedom from people who weren't interested in helping us. True to my word, I discarded most of Stefan's things because, let's face it, we don't know what was going on his furniture during those rowdy parties, and nobody deserved to sit on those couches. There was a couple who had been looking to settle somewhere quaint and quiet, and I was ready to give them Stefan's old place. I was in the mood to make some new memories. Ones without Stefan. Stefan is currently rotting in a jail cell, awaiting trial. Turns out he has zero loyalty to the friends who helped him stay at my apartment, because he was squealing like a little piggy when he was being interrogated, telling the officers everything they needed to know about these shady contractors. They too were also arrested, thank God, so we didn't have to worry about anyone else coming into our little haven and disturbing the peace. It's been a month since Stefan and his cronies were arrested, and already this place seems to be brighter and livelier. Everyone around me can't stop thanking me for taking the initiative to change this place for the better, and I couldn't help but be proud of myself. Not only did I make the living conditions better for people here, but I also put a dirty, racist dirtbag behind bars. I felt like I was on cloud 9. Sometimes, if I feel like being extra spicy, I'll visit Stefan in jail just to see how he's doing. In case you were wondering, he's not doing too good, folks. He's getting skinnier, and it looks like they're really roughing him up in there. I don't know what he expected. Maybe he thought that the police would separate him from the friends he ratted out. But when you're working with a police force that's heavily underfunded and a bit corrupted, anything goes. Those guys were giving him the business, I'll tell you that. When Stefan realized that I wasn't there to help him, he stopped accepting visits from me, which was hilarious because I had already won. Now he was just left in the corner of a dirty jail cell, licking his wounds.